here, as Yaku was saying, we are diving in to Glittering Ashes, one of the largest.
What I was saying?
I think that
I implied that.
you were trying to say
I don't
that.
think I ever. Yeah.
Oh god.
I implied it.
God damn it, Yaku.
As we start off our series here on Glittering Ashes LE, we're in the top left, right hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right hand corner. We have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Vietnam. He is a Grand Platypus himself, representing Juggernaut Gaming, Kunara Calibre, if he's not here, and if he is here, Kunara him anyway, because, you know, why not? He is, of course, MeomaikA.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Glittering Ashes LE, we have the Australian Protoss player. He is blue, representing the Cranky Ducklings. It is StarDuck.
And of course, we did have the pleasure of being able to cast MeomaikA last night during the King of Battles qualifiers, but I am real honest, I don't even remember the matchup he played. I think he played DRG?
Yeah, it was ZvP, DRG. Yeah.
Alright, that does not help in the ZvP.
It really doesn't. Last night, we casted MeomaikA in a ZvZ, and we casted Gogojoy versus Time, if you remember. Well, on this
yes,
map.
yeah.
Yeah.
Come back to me.
Oh god, but there are no notable Terrans,
Yeah,
unfortunately, so we're not going to see that matchup either, as in Gogojoy versus a Terran player. So
I don't think there are any Terran players. Oh no, John Paul plays Terran, right?
oh, maybe. Yeah. I think you're right.
I remember. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how this goes here, as we do have a couple of Lings moving out across the map from the side of MeomaikA. This is spotted by StarDuck. He is well aware that the Lings are en route, so he should be able to, wall off with that Cyber Core.
One of my favorite tactics, defensive tactics that come out from Protoss players in recent weeks.
Yeah, I remember the week where StarDuck and Pez were actually trying to time it out. They were like practicing and like figuring out like the efficiency of it. That they all kind of came to the same conclusion, as the Lings do show up and they do start chipping away at the Cyber Core. But again, the Cyber Core just needs to survive long enough for the first Adept to come out.
There's actually a lot of surface area on that Cyber Core. It will be cancelled in the end, and the Adept gets surrounded just like that.
Ooh, it does get surrounded.
Man.
So far, the micro is decently good, but one probe gets picked off. The rest of these things will go down, but how many more probes are going to fall?
Should be too many, I say that, but two more go down. Not the biggest of deals, though. I don't think MeomaikA scouted that Stargate.
Oh, it looks like he did get a full scout of the Stargate, and losing 3 probes this early, honestly, a pretty big deal. Like, nicely done there by MeomaikA. I would first be a little bit concerned that maybe he may not have Lings for the counter-attack for these Adepts, but thankfully, he is making a wave of Lings behind this.
Yeah, it's MeomaikA, you know.
He's always
he doesn't like
Lings,
to cut corners there. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh god. Here we go, the Adepts do show up. They do force a lot of spawning time. Yo, 2 drones already going down.
Yeah, not bad. Stark is starting to reciprocate the damage. 3 drones go down. So just about even.
Yeah.
I was gonna go into this whole thing where it's like, you know, losing 3 probes early on, it is recoverable, but you don't want to be in that scenario anyway. StarDuck has just about recovered from that scenario earlier on.
He really has, and this is where StarDuck is about to really pop off here, because sure, he did scout the Stargate opener, but we do see a Oracle first, not a Void Ray. So the Oracle is going to be zooming across the map. Ooh, but it looks like, it actually doesn't get spotted by the Lings. But MeomaikA, he's being careful. He does throw down some spores.
May as well.
Looking at you, Arya. And Chappie. God. There are some Zerg players that cut corners and just rely on queens to defend.
Yeah, it's like they never got struck by the fear of proxy DTs as a follow-up.
Exactly. Ay, ay, ay. Meanwhile, a couple of drones get picked off. Ooh, and the baneling nest is spotted. Bearing in mind, there is a baneling nest.
It just yeah, it just hit me that there is a baneling nest coming out, and
Yeah.
StarDuck is going for charge lots. That is not the most ideal thing in the world when you're up against Ling Bane. Archons are very effective against it. Charge lots not so much.
Yeah, I'm concerned as well. Not gonna lie, mates, because we're gonna see some Ling Bane coming out from MeomaikA. Thankfully, this was scattered by StarDuck, so he's fully aware of the threat of banelings. Can he get, like, enough army in time to help defend, though? That's the question. Can he even get this third up?
I think he's gonna have to cancel it. Oh, the Oracle comes back, but it is starting to get low on energy. The Adept was able to chip off enough Zerglings, though, so that shouldn't be too much from StarDuck to worry about here.
You say that 14 more Lings are on the way, mate. MeomaikA, he wants to take out that third base. StarDuck has to be so careful. This Oracle will be able to regenerate a bunch of its energy, but we need more than just an Oracle if StarDuck wants his third up.
Yeah, we're gonna need more than a single Archon as well. MeomaikA is actually pooling his, pulling together his army, not quite going for it. I say that, but now he pulls the trigger. Thought I was just building up for a massive Hydra Ling Bane timing.
I thought he was as well, because the Hydras are coming out, you know, relatively early, so it feels like MeomaikA wants to be aggressive. These Lings do show their hand. So far, he doesn't pull the trigger, not yet. The Oracles are moving out, and again, it's going to be on StarDuck to scout, because StarDuck hasn't even seen the Hydra Den, and the Creep Highway is on the way.
Isn't it? No, the Oracle.
He doesn't go in.
Would have been able to see.
Hopefully he realizes though. Yeah, he knows. He's throwing down shield batteries.
They're not shield batteries. Prioritizing High Templar. Not getting Storm yet. He is saving his gas just so he can warp in more and more High Templar for more and more Archons. StarDuck has the tools that he needs. Will he control them well enough? That's the question.
And what's so interesting is that MeomaikA pulls back with his highway. Like, after he got scouted, he pulls the overlords that were otherwise spreading creep here all the way back home. He takes a base and he drones up.
Well, that's MeomaikA for you.
I love it.
He doesn't commit if he knows that his opponents know that he's going a certain way.
He is the most adaptable Zerg player. It's crazy.
He is literally Dahaka.
Oh god, just sucking on all that essence, mate. Meanwhile, War Prism is across the map, so StarDuck is looking to get ready to dive into the main base, potentially. Yep, there we go. He's going to dive in. Meanwhile, at the same time, Zelts are going to try and hit this third base. With this, StarDuck finally does get eyes on all the Hydras.
There's a lot to worry about. MeomaikA does got the War Prism, but thankfully for StarDuck, it is able to make it out in time.
Yeah, and yo, 2 queens fall. The queen at the third and the queen at the main. And this is actually pretty devastating because we know that MeomaikA doesn't make excess queens to spread creep. He only has one at each base for those injects.
Yeah, he can't quite send another queen from earlier to his hatcheries and start injecting from there. He has to remake them slowly but surely. Another warp into the main base. StarDuck seems to be lacking in gateways. That or he...
Yeah.
That or he just, you know, has been warping in back home so much that he doesn't have enough to warp it across the map.
Yeah. I was surprised as well when I saw like only 2 zealots being warped in. I was like, I feel like there should be more here. Speaking of being more though, MeomaikA, he wants to hit his timing. He has 1-1 for his Ling Hydra. No banelings, despite having that baneling nest. It is MeomaikA.
Yeah, and to be fair, there's nothing really to hit with Banes. Getting Lings surrounding these Archons should be more effective than crashing Banelings into them. MeomaikA trying to go for a bit of multi-prong.
Yeah, that he is. Finally, StarDuck does see this, so now he has to split up his army because, yo, there come the Banelings looking to try and hit the 4th base. 3rd even.
It's so difficult to split up your army on Glittering Ashes, isn't it? Like, look how much space there is between the 4th base and the 3rd.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and StarDuck just doesn't have enough supply to work with. He has a bank. Like, look at the amount of minerals that he has. But finally, we see a massive warp in. He needs a little bit more than just Charge the Archon, though. That's what I'm concerned about. Like, where is the transition into Skytoss?
Yeah, eventually we're going to get to the point where MeomaikA is going to be able to outproduce on Hydra Link Bane versus the Gateway Army.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, MeomaikA tries to dip into the 3rd base once again. The slow Banelings are here, but we do have a pretty juicy storm. Oh,
we do. I thought for a sec that the Banelings connected really well in terms of the High Templar, but apparently it was only one that went down. Their Banelings there.
High Templar. Oh.
Very exposed. It's able to get a storm off before it dies, and the warp or the time prism stasis ward does get popped. All of the High Templar get taken out, but MeomaikA does take a lot of Hydra casualties. The rest of them are very, very low on health. It's a decent position that he's got here. Will have a potential flank, but he just doesn't have the health.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, again, StarDuck losing every single High Templar like that was massive, absolutely insane. But MeomaikA also lost a lot of Hydra, so honestly, it was a pretty even trade gas-wise overall. Or even, actually, MeomaikA coming up behind in that. Oof.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Hydras are expensive.
So.
Oh god, like honestly,
almost as much as High Templar.
Yeah, like going for a Hydra push like that, like it really sets you behind. Like MeomaikA doesn't have a gas; he needs to go into something else from here, and it looks like his answer is lurkers.
Well, it's one way of dealing with Charged Archon. Really like the recall idea here, as StarDuck tries to sneak out of base, but unfortunately it does get scouted. The probes are going to be dealt with. A very exposed Templar again.
Yeah, like StarDuck is really struggling here. He's not doing what Protoss do best, and that is like, you know, get side defense at all your fresh bases. We need cannons. We need shield batteries. If StarDuck wants to get a 4th up, he desperately needs a 4th. Otherwise, he will not keep up with MeomaikA.
And to be fair, MeomaikA has been on 4 bases for quite some time. So he's not, you know, running away with the economy like he wants to in a ZvP.
Like against any other Zerg player, I feel like they would have double expanded by now. Like StarDuck just hasn't really been able to be aggressive. But because MeomaikA isn't necessarily for like an economic Zerg player, like things are still relatively closer than they otherwise should be.
He's borrowing just outside of cannon range.
Yo, do we have detection here? Oh, the cannon.
Detection from the cannons.
Yeah. Oh god, the Lings.
On at least some of these, the Lings are trying to get on top of this army. But storms provide just about enough of a buffer here for the High Templar. It's almost like the High Templar are their own buffer.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, MeomaikA is hitting the right-hand base once again. These lurkers are doing a really good job actually taking out the Cybercore.
Yeah, no more. Well, I say no more units that aren't charged, but StarDuck hasn't been warping in units that aren't charged or High Templar, so it's actually kind of fine with losing that Cybercore.
Yeah, unfortunately that means that there won't be any flyer upgrades, and he does want to get into Skytoss eventually, so he will be forced to remake that Cybercore. Finally, we have some carriers on the way. I was about to say that this would be okay if StarDuck kills all these lurkers, but unfortunately it looks like the lurkers will be able to escape.
There just isn't enough army that can deal with that.
StarDuck is just spread so thin. Like, why didn't he just take the triangular 3rd? Like, this one, like, you can be attacked from the high ground from, like, 3 different avenues. Like, oh, God.
Well, I think the idea is that he wanted to take the triangular 3rd, but it got canceled early on, so he said, you know what? I'm just going to try to sneak this one out and hope for the best.
Yeah. Hoping is not good enough, mate, because he just can't get it up and running. Like, there's just no resources here at all.
Well, there are plenty of resources, they just haven't been mined.
Yeah, exactly.
The probes keep going down. Finally, this base should go down. And I will say it feels like MeomaikA has been trading pretty inefficiently, but he does get... but at the end of the day, he is taking the economic victories.
Yeah, exactly. Like, MeomaikA is starving StarDuck out. StarDuck just... he's broke, essentially. Ooh. Yeah, a little bit of miss... Oh, no! Mio, please. 3 lurkers go down for free. And now StarDuck is in a really rough position. He either has to apply aggression so that MeomaikA stops counterattacking, or stay at home and defend this 4th base and slowly get back into this.
There's this army out. It's not like it's impossible here for StarDuck.
Oh, God.
MeomaikA's army is completely out of position. 2. Looks like we have a base trade on our hands.
Oh, MeomaikA turns around. He turns around and he wants to fight this Protoss army.
High Templar are looking a little bit exposed, but it's not the storms that MeomaikA has to worry about anymore. It's the Archons. It's the carriers in the sky. I say that, but there are actually only 2 carriers, so I just noticed that.
Yeah, like, and the storms are still going to pack a massive punch. This is a pretty big win here. StarDuck does take out one of these bases, but oh god, he needs detection here if he really wants to fight this.
Thankfully, he does have that Observer. Does MeomaikA have range upgrade? He doesn't on his lurkers.
Well, he does not. He does have the high, but he doesn't have the upgrades. Meanwhile, MeomaikA's pulling the trigger, going for a massive surround. Where are the storms?
Just a little bit too late on the storms. Thankfully for StarDuck, at least MeomaikA didn't have enough Banelings to crash on top of these High Templar, but the entire army is getting annihilated. Sure, Meo lost at 5th base. Look at the army supply difference. Look at how much larva he still has. He's just about spent his entire bank, and honestly, he doesn't have too much more. He doesn't have that much more army supply.
It's one of those things where if StarDuck had the 4th base fully saturated, StarDuck would be fine. But he just, he's just trying to desperately rebuild the army. Same with MeomaikA. He's trying to pump out as many Hydras as possible. And with enough Hydras, with 3-3 around the corner, he will be able to just brute force his way through. Where are the shield batteries? Where are the cannons? It's just carriers.
Yeah, I was a little worried because I looked at the army supply and thought, well, it's not like MeomaikA has that much more, does he? But reminded that most of that supply is in carriers, so yeah, now the interceptors are dealt with. MeomaikA, it doesn't have any trouble at all getting on top of this army. GG is called. Meo takes game number 1.
GG, after a long, bloody battle, MeomaikA does take it. StarDuck, he was doing well, landing a couple of storms here and there, but again, it just was not enough. All those interceptors were killed, and yeah, MeomaikA takes the lead.
1-0. Getting a little bit closer to potentially facing his teammate here. As we just got confirmation, Gojo has taken out Beastork 2-0. Will be waiting on the other side of this match for his opponent.
Nice, nice. Waiting for the winner of this series. Meanwhile, I do want to say that, StarDuck wasn't looking too bad in that series. Like, usually we see MeomaikA end the game much earlier, but because of the map, he didn't really have the availability to do so. But still, regardless, the aggression from MeomaikA, just containing StarDuck to 3 bases for so long, was all that he needed to do.
It absolutely was. And yeah, we have a little bit of whiplash here going from the largest map in the current pool to the smallest. This is going to be where MeomaikA excels. I'm worried for StarDuck.
Oh, what the hell were the Veeters? What were the Veeters? I guess Blackburn would make sense. Yeah. But allowing Berlin through, like, this could be a fast one.
It really could. I mean, I kind of understand the process, right? I'm not sure who picked first. I think it was Meo. So maybe Meo picked Glittering Ashes and StarDuck said, you know what? That's going to be a long game. Let's have a short one after that. Just for variety's sake. I wouldn't put it past him, honestly.
Maybe. It's just the thought of playing on this map against MeomaikA, though. We'll see if our Australian player has something in store for us here.
Let's hope so. As we continue our series here on Berlingrad LE, we're in the bottom right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have the red Zerg player. Wishing have fun coming down from the land of Vietnam. He, of course, is going to be representing Juggernaut Gaming. The entire Not army is behind him. He is MeomaikA.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the Australian Protoss player. He is blue, representing the Cranky Ducklings. It is StarDuck. Oh boy.
Oh boy, I'm just keeping my eyes on the top left-hand side of the screen. I'm watching this probe.
There it is. I was waiting for the Forge. Let's go. Forge is the only thing that makes sense here for StarDuck if you want to go up against a player who you know is going to go for an early pull.
Does it though?
Does it?
In a natural base, it does, yeah. But he hasn't. Yeah.
Exactly. So essentially, this isn't meant to kill. You know, the cannons are meant to be a little bit annoying, draw away these lings, and hopefully these lings, by the time they get across the map, there is a full wall up here and there are cannons.
Yeah, that's the thing that's worrying me right now for StarDuck is
He
didn't go for Gateway Forge. He went straight for the Forge. He went Forge first.
Mate, finally, MeomaikA, he spots the probe. He will check behind his base and he will deal with these cannons.
Yeah, but he might only be able to take one of them out in time. One cannon finishes up, and it will kill a single Zergling, but not much beyond that. Now StarDuck is going to have to scramble for a defense. Double gate gets thrown down here, just so he has a bit of a wall off, and that was what was worrying me earlier on. I was mentioning it's not the economic. Unmuted at the wrong time.
Okay.
The economic cannon rush that we normally see from StarDuck, where it's a gateway into a forge. He wanted to delay that natural base for much longer, but MeomaikA, man, he did got the cannon rush, but he saw the probe right at the last second and thought something's up.
Yeah, so this was a very different kind of Forge. I don't know if you noticed, but look at the worker count. StarDuck went for a Nexus first. He went Nexus into Forge, so it was like a Forge expand sort of build. Sure, there's like, ideally, if there wasn't a pull first, then we get a kill and a cancel in the natural. But StarDuck, again, didn't intend really to end the game or anything. This is just a way to safely get into the later stages of the game. But as we can see, MeomaikA has other things in store for him because he went for a very fast lair.
And a very fast spire. Actually getting a spire before he gets his gases.
Ooh.
But he's not too far off at the gas count, so.
Yeah, and this is scary. This needs to be scouted. Like, this Stargate, I know it's very tempting to go for a Void Ray first, but I feel like we need an Oracle just so StarDuck can zoom across the map and scout what the hell MeomaikA is up to.
Well, we'll see if he's feeling scared enough.
God, that's the thing, right? Because right now StarDuck is in the dark. He just doesn't have any presence on the map. He doesn't have like an adept out there or anything like that. He's getting a couple of stalkers just to maintain himself. But again, what are we going to see? A Void Ray or an Oracle come out from StarDuck?
I'm really worried because he is also getting +1
Yeah.
flyer weapons. So, drone? Question mark?
A bit of a miss rally there, so it is going to be a Void Ray. It is going to slowly come out and kill the Overlords at least. But like we need to see a scout. It's like StarDuck needs vision, and the Spire just finishes up.
I feel like StarDuck will probably try to go across the map with his Void Ray, but how long is that going to take, right? He is hunting for Overlords first, or he's trying to get the first Overlord.
Oh my god! It's not even a.
What?
It's not even Mutas, mate.
He just wants to vomit all over the cannons and let the lings wreak havoc from below. I see the logic.
Okay,
I'm not sure if it works out.
This is going to be very strange because we still have all gases being taken. We do have these gateways finishing up. We do have a couple more behind this, as well as a warp gate. Like, we can have stalkers to defend. Like, we'll see. We'll see if the corruptors reveal themselves. Oh my god.
They're gonna have to. There's no other way of anti-air here.
True.
There's no other way of keeping these overlords alive.
Oh god, and what is the plan from StarDuck? He's working on Warp Gate, but it's not done. It's so far away from finishing. Sentries are not going to help him out against these Corruptors. With only Sentries as DPS, the Corruptors, they can just focus down the Nexus.
And he definitely wants to try. Turns around because there is another Void Ray MeomaikA wasn't counting on. Start to make another one of those. Slowly but surely.
He gets scouted!
No! This would have been a genius ninja base location.
We do have a ninja base, but it gets spotted by MeomaikA, so he can just piss down the building, the Nexus with these Corruptors. Meanwhile, they do catch the second Void Ray. Ugh, 2 Void Rays go down for almost nothing.
I mean, MeomaikA doesn't even have to use his Corruptors here. He just sends the Lings, forces that cancel, and now StarDuck is so hard contained.
He's in such a awful place right now. He's trying to reorganize himself. He's still stuck on 2 bases. He's like going into +1 Blink Stalkers maybe, but without the Blink.
And without the +1 either pretty soon.
Like he just can't stop this.
Not at all. Plus ground weapons did get denied. The Warp Prism will get taken out. A lot of map presence, a lot of reinforcement potential does get taken out here for StarDuck. And I'm really liking this for MeomaikA. He is not hard committed to the Spire at all. He has got a couple of Corruptors to really throw a wrench in StarDuck's Void Ray plans, and now he's just going Roach Ravager.
Yeah. And StarDuck is all in, by the way. He has to end the game here and now. To be fair, he has a pretty good army to deal with Roach Ravager, like kind of pseudo-S Soul Train, you know, Blinks, just Stalkers with Immortals and Sentries. We'll see if StarDuck can execute this, because again, he just has to straight up end the game here.
Yeah, I'm definitely really worried for StarDuck, though. He doesn't have any upgrades. There's a Warp Prism that can really reinforce. MeomaikA is pulling the boys, which is a little bit desperate, but he can afford to lose a couple of drones.
Yeah. Again, he can afford to lose the workers. He's ahead in workers. Meanwhile, we do need a couple more force fields being thrown down. As you said, this is huge, the fact that he's hitting without +1 because of the denial of that forge.
And you know what? StarDuck. He's got a comparable army supply.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, a lot of MeomaikA's supply are in these Corruptors. Roach Ravager doesn't exactly scale very well either. It's not the most supply efficient composition.
Exactly, the 3rd base goes down as well as 14 workers, and now he wants to try and go for the kill. Oh god, MeomaikA, now is not the time to be morphing. Yeah, he's the Ravagers. They're useless. Oh my god.
But they do manage to pop out. There's a lot of battle potential, and without Blink, it is hard to dodge them. But StarDuck dodges the battles anyway. I think MeomaikA actually battled a couple of his own units. StarDuck, it looks like he's doing it, but at the same time, more and more roaches are popping out.
But the Immortals are still standing strong because of that, and MeomaikA realizes that he wants to kill the Immortal, but there's not enough here. StarDuck, he's doing it despite the wonky start to this game. It was crazy. It was nonsense. The Corruptors do nothing. They're just dead supply. Oh, but the roaches are barely coming out. But in come the reinforcements.
The reinforcements are on the way, but now that Warp has been dealt with, or that Warp Prism, sorry, has been dealt with, it's going to be a lot harder for Start to reinforce. Immortal is looking exposed once again, and MeomaikA still has a lot of larva on him.
Very true. We'll see how this goes here. Again, this is still so close. A lot of these roaches are getting low, but they're closing the distance on top of these Stalkers. But another wave of reinforcements come in.
Yeah, MeomaikA has lost whatever economic advantage he had earlier on, but he still has a lot of defensive advantage. He is broke. And he will be broken as well. GG. StarDuck ties up that series sideways 1-1.
GG. Well played. We have an ace match, people.
We have an ace match. Yeah, just hit me.
Oh my god. StarDuck was looking so bad for StarDuck because the Warp Prism got killed as well before the push happened. The Warp Prism went down, +1 was denied. He was just losing just any kind of advantage that he could have had. The ninja base was cancelled. Like, things looking so bad there for StarDuck. But because it's Berlingrad, mate, all ins. It only takes a couple of seconds to get across the map, mate. Like,
yeah. And
MeomaikA, we don't say this too often. But he did drone up a little bit too much.
The one time MeomaikA drones up.
Yeah. He had like 58. I think when the fight started, he had like 58 drones, like 45 or 40 something of StarDuck. Like,
jeez. Yeah. It is one of those things, isn't it, where StarDuck lost any advantage he might have had, but that's why he just had to fight that much harder.
Wow.
No distractions. Focus entirely on controlling the army. And with that, takes us to the ace.
Yeah, that he does. That he does. It was also like he also, again, he hit exactly when he needed to as well. As you said, there was also a little bit of friendly fire with the Ravagers from Mio. Like, it was just, again, chaos.
What more did we expect?
I was really concerned there. I thought StarDuck was gonna play Terran.
Oh, you know, CVT unwinnable.
True. Oh, good. But yeah, mate, ace match. I didn't think we could be there. I didn't think we could be here. Honestly, I'll be real. There's a world where maybe StarDuck 2-0s. Like, game 1 was still so close in my eyes. Like,
Well, both of the games so far have been incredibly close, but neither of them have been cigar, ? As we continue our series on Pride of Altaris LE, concluding this best of 3. Gojo has been waiting quite a while. And actually, Fun Fact B-Stroke is going to be waiting a very long time as well in the lower bracket.
let him wait, mate. Let him wait.
Let him wait. As in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, the Red Zug player coming down from the land of Vietnam. He is going to be representing Juggernaut Gaming. The Nod Army standing behind him. He is MeomaikA.
Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Pride of Altaris LE, we have the Australian Protoss player representing the Cranky Ducklings. It is the blue Protoss. It is StarDuck. And this is a scary opener, a very bold one as well. I was actually earlier in this very broadcast, I was talking about how you don't really want to go for like early pulls on a map like this, like Pride of Altaris, but it goes for it anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those things where your units will go across the map, will take longer to go across the map, so going full first won't be as effective. But on the flip side, because it takes longer for your units to go across the map, might as well get the pull earlier.
Yeah. May as well. The Lings are going across the map. Unfortunately, StarDuck does spot this, so hopefully he can wall off in time. I'm a little bit concerned that maybe he didn't. He will be able to throw down that Cyber Core, and his goal is to chrono out that Adept as fast as possible. The Lings are gonna show up.
They are, but that defensive cyber core is in a very good location on top of the ramp and shouldn't have too much surface area. Yeah, only 4 Lings can chip away at it. No, I said corrected. 6 Lings can actually chip away at it. Oh no.
Ooh, that they can. The cyber core is getting pretty low, but it is not enough. Okay. The surround.
What a big brain play from MeomaikA. He dips away to make StarDuck think that it's safe enough to cancel. And because it's canceled, he dips in with his Lings. Thankfully for StarDuck, his probe control is on point. He doesn't lose a single worker.
Yeah.
MeomaikA doesn't really scout anything either.
Much better compared to what we saw previously against, I believe it was Demi. StarDuck only losing 1 probe instead of the 3 that we saw earlier.
Yeah, we're calling him probe now because, as a reminder, StarDuck did beat probe.
StarDuck did 2-0 probe, this is true. I mean, probe is, you know, he's an Age of Empires boy nowadays, okay? If anyone's gonna take the mantle of best Protoss in Australia, it may as well be Pez. But StarDuck is still a thing. Oh god.
Well, I don't know. Pez decided to 10-man.
True.
StarDuck very graciously took time off his very packed Dota schedule.
True.
To play in GPO today. So.
Exclamation mark Funada Pez for playing 10-man's Dota instead of playing in GPO today. Ugh.
Shaking my head.
Hey, Pez, you were the chosen one. This could be you, Pez. This could be you.
This could be you, but you 10-manning.
Ooh.
This could also be you, but you don't proxy.
Yeah, this wouldn't be Pez, but yeah. Oh god, let's go StarDuck with the proxy gateway. How many gates do we have at home? We have 2, so we're gonna have some hyper aggression. 2 oracles behind this as well, so the turns have it tabled. MeomaikA, what do you have to defend? He's working on a Bailey nest. He is still unawares of the aggression of the Protoss.
Completely unaware. At least with +1 melee, the Lynx can be a little bit more effective against the Adepts, but what is the solution to the oracles?
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the Oracle does dip in, confirms that third base is on the way. There is a Spore here, but the Oracle dips in to help support these Adepts.
Honestly, really good surround. Really good drone surround on top of these Adepts. These Adepts don't have any glaives. They are able to take out a couple of workers, but not as many as he would perhaps like.
Yeah, and again, I just love the use of these oracles. Like, sure, they don't have glaives, but they have oracles just going to town on so many of these links.
Yeah, fun fact, oracles are basically flying glaives.
That they are, but one of the oracles does get picked off, and unfortunately, there wasn't too much momentum here. The reinforcing Adepts just didn't show up, and now MeomaikA is going for a massive counterattack.
And there's nothing in position to defend, is
Yeah,
there?
I say counterattack, mate, it's a Bane bust. Oh god, the Banelings are on the way. +1 melee is going to hit with this as well. MeomaikA wants to break in and end the game.
Need to bust.
Yeah, at the same time, the Adepts are going across the map, so we're going to be in a really weird kind of base trade scenario.
MeomaikA is pulling back a little bit. He evacuates that third base now.
Oh god, are we gonna see StarDuck try and recall back home? The Lings are flooding into the main base. He's gonna depower the gateways!
They're trying to. There's another pylon over there. The Banelings try to crash on top of the probes, and they do get 13 already. Still plenty of Banelings. No, never mind. They crash on top of the Immortal instead. 2 of these gateways actually depowered, and that's actually quite a lot when you look at how much production StarDuck has right now. He wants to continue warping in across the map, but he just can't.
We see a recall instead, and StarDuck is actually okay. Like, MeomaikA, he was stuck on one base economy for so long. Finally, he resaturates the natural. Like, look at the worker count. It's still pretty, like, similar. And now with the recall, StarDuck, he can defend at home.
He can, but it's mostly Adepts.
Against Lings?
I'm just imagining one good against Lings, it's great, but against Banelings?
True.
I don't know.
Very true. The force field is going to be so important here. We do have 1 sentry. Ugh, 1 sentry.
The force field singular is going to be so important here.
Exactly. Unfortunately, we have a bit of an all-army hockey here. Like, imagine a world where this Oracle is out on the map, spots this, and then starts focusing down all these Banelings. Meanwhile, the Banelings are headed towards the army.
Yeah, hit it specifically towards the Adepts. There's that force field, but
Split,
unfortunately,
puppy.
there is only 1 split, not quite there. The Adepts have just been taken out. But MeomaikA doesn't want to tangle with the Oracle and the Zealots either.
That he does. That he does not. Meanwhile, we do have a couple of reinforcements. Finally, the proxy has been scouted by MeomaikA, but it actually gets protected, and StarDuck wants to keep going. He's being so aggressive right now. He wants to go for the kill again.
Well, he has his warping point, so he may as well keep on going, but MeomaikA has droned up quite a lot behind this. He's getting a very healthy amount of Banelings as well. Thankfully for StarDuck, he doesn't have charge on his Zealots, so they're not going to suicide into Banelings.
No, but we need the force field
though! Regardless! Oh, no!
Oh, the Banelings crash in, and I think that is all she wrote. That is all that MeomaikA needed, as everything gets surrounded by the Lings.
Unfortunately, there just weren't enough sentries. GG! MeomaikA takes that, but StarDuck, he made him work for it.
GG, well played. Oh my god, that was so close. I loved it. Congratulations to MeomaikA as he does move on in this tournament. Again, as what we would expect, but at the same time, that was still very close. And because it's double limb, potentially StarDuck could fight his way back for a rematch.